Hi everyone, my name is Marijke and I have the opportunity to bring you the midweek message this week. This is my first time doing this and looking forward to sharing a reflection with you. I'd like to give credit to Heidi. She had shared this at our last worship committee meeting. In our church, there's a group of people that meet monthly to plan our weekly Sunday morning worship services, and we often start with devotions, and this was shared by Heidi, who led devotions at that meeting. And she read to us a section from an article written by Adam Ramsey. He's a pastor in Australia. And the article is titled Maturing Towards Childlikeness. And that title really caught my attention. I've been thinking a little bit more about that and wanted to share it with all of you. The article actually comes from a book of his, which sounds really interesting. I've not read it yet, but it's called Truth on Fire. So before I read from that article, I wanted to read a passage of scripture where his thoughts are kind of based on. So I'm reading from Matthew 18, where the disciples, they're arguing over who would be the greatest. And Jesus gives them this teaching. So Matthew 18, starting at verse 1. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" Jesus called a little child to him and placed the child among them. And he said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me." So now just a few paragraphs from this article. To a child, worshipful wonder is natural. Children possess a delightful curiosity that causes them to run toward that which astonishes them, rather than shrink back from it or simply shrug it off. When it comes to awe, children are the experts. And yet it is this capacity to truly wonder that is often one of the first casualties of growing up. As we become more routine and used to life in this world, we seem to become less surprisable, more cynical, unfortunately, and more numb to glory, even when it's right under our noses. It may seem counterintuitive, but Christian growth is a gradual downward movement toward the maturity of childlikeness. Have you ever met a Christian in their later years whose eyes sparkled bright with life? That is a person growing toward childlikeness of heart, not away from it. We need only open our eyes to the signposts of God's glory all around us that our self-absorption has blinded us to. God has graciously given us a world to inhabit that is dripping with his creative majesty, reminding us that we are standing in a story that is much, much bigger than ourselves. And he reveals a picture of himself to us in his word that is anything but dull. Some good stuff there to reflect on, and wanted to just ask and leave you with a few questions. So do you take the time to slow down enough to stop and wonder about God's beautiful creation? To listen to the birds sing, to enjoy the sun on your cheeks, to be curious at what might be around the next corner, to believe the good in humanity, to trust first instead of last? In what ways do you struggle with childishness? And in what ways are you making progress with childlikeness? So a couple questions there for you to reflect on. I hope you have a wonderful week, and God's blessing to you.